Some places in North America just don't feel right. Out in Crater Lake, Oregon, there's a 30-foot log called the Old Man of the Lake. For over 130 years, it's been floating completely upright, slowly drifting across the deepest lake in America. Rangers say it's always watching you. Hundreds of miles north, Mt.shasta rises like a beacon in Northern California. Locals whisper about underground cities of Lemurians, glowing orbs floating through the forest, and hikers who vanish only to reappear days later with no memory of where they've been. Then there's the Kincaid Caves, deep inside the Grand Canyon, where in 1909, an explorer allegedly found an Egyptian underground city filled with mummies, golden urns, and hieroglyphs, before the Smithsonian supposedly made the entire discovery disappear. And far up in Canada's Northwest Territories lies the infamous Headless Valley, Nahanni Valley, where over the decades, dozens of men have been found decapitated with no signs of struggle, while others simply vanished into the wilderness without a trace. 4 places, 4 impossible mysteries, all hidden in the wildest corners of our continent. Are these just strange coincidences? Or are we being warned to stay out of the shadows? This is Campsite Mysteries, and these are the stories that will keep you awake next time you're alone in the woods. Enjoy the compilation, because I know I have. For more than 100 years, a body has been floating in Crater Lake. It doesn't sink, it doesn't rot, and no one fully understands why. Tonight, we descend into Oregon's Crater Lake, the deepest lake in the United States, a caldera born from volcanic fury, and home to something that defies time, gravity, and explanation. They call him the Old Man of the Lake. Long before park rangers or tourists, the Klamath people spoke of this place in hushed tones. Thousands of years ago, Mount Mazama erupted in cataclysmic rage, a battle between gods, some say. The underworld spirit Lao clashed with the sky god Skell, and when the mountain collapsed, it left a gaping wound filled with impossibly blue water. Thus, Crater Lake was born, nearly 2,000 feet deep, crystal clear, and sacred. But something survived the cataclysm, something ancient. A lone hemlock tree over 450 years old when it fell, or was thrown into the depths. Carbon dating doesn't lie. This man was already ancient when Columbus sailed, and yet he never sank. In 1896, geologist Joseph Diller stared across the water, and he saw something impossible. A massive log, 30 feet long, bleached bone white at the top, standing perfectly upright, not drifting sideways like any normal tree trunk, vertical, bobbing like a sentinel, about 4 feet just out above the surface, the rest vanishing into the abyss below. Diller called it a spectacle, curious enough to excite the imagination. He was right. For decades, no one could explain it. The lake's water is so cold, so pure, yet this log refuses to waterlog and sink. Moss clings to its submerged sides, creatures live on it. But the real mystery? He moves. In 1938, the government tracked him for months, over 62 miles in just 3 months, sometimes 4 miles in a single day, against the wind, against logic. Imagine boating out, thinking you're alone, only to see that pale head break the surface, exactly where it wasn't yesterday. Now, the stories get darker. Locals whisper that the old man isn't just wood, he's a guardian, or a curse, tied to the Klamath legends of the lake's sacred and dangerous spirits, near Wizard Island where dark forces once dwelled. Some say he controls the weather. Others say he remembers everything that's happened in this ancient crater. In 1988, Scientists brought a submersible to probe the lake's bottom. Worried the old man might foul their equipment, they lassoed him, tied him to the shore of Wizard Island. Within hours, the sky turned black. Storms rolled in, snow fell. In August, the sub couldn't launch. The expedition stalled. So under the cover of night, they quietly untied him and the storm vanished. The weather cleared. Coincidence? Or did they anger something that's watched this lake for centuries? Even today, boat captains warn each other, watch for the old man, because he appears without warning, silent, upright, eternal. Before we go any further, if you're drawn to real paranormal encounters and urban legends that refuse to die, make sure you subscribe to Campsite Mysteries. There's always another waiting in the dark. So what keeps him afloat? Theories abound: special moss-trapping gas, once hidden roots, or rocks at the base. The lake's frigid density preserving him like a mummy. But none fully explain it. He doesn't rot, he doesn't tip, he doesn't sink. And after more than 130 years of sightings from 1896 right up to recent reports, he's still there. Still moving, still watching. Unfortunately, Cleetwood Cove Trail and boat tours are closed due to construction from 2026 to 2029. You likely won't be able to see the old man of the lake up close. While the lake remains visible from viewpoints, access to the water is restricted, keeping this mystery alive longer. Crater Lake is beautiful, but beauty can hide darkness. The old man of the lake reminds us, some things in nature refuse to obey our rules. Some mysteries are meant to endure. Have you ever seen him? Felt that chill when something ancient stares back from the water? Drop your stories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, hit that like button, subscribe to Campsite Mysteries, and ring the bell so you never miss the next unsolved secret hiding in the wild. Until next time, sleep tight, and if you're ever near Crater Lake, keep an eye on the water. He might be watching you. Imagine this, you're alone on a wooden boat, drifting down the Colorado River, deep inside the Grand Canyon. It's 1909, the walls tower thousands of feet above you, then you spot it. A dark, perfectly square opening high on a cliff, almost 2,000 feet up. You climb. Inside you don't find rocks. You find man-made tunnels, hieroglyphs that look Egyptian, golden urns, mummies, and statues that belong on a temple on the Nile, not in Arizona. What if I told you this really happened, and the discovery was allegedly buried by the Smithsonian Institution forever? Tonight, on Campsite Mysteries, we're going deep into the forbidden Kincaid Caves, the most dangerous archaeological secret in America. Grab your flashlight, because something ancient is still watching from the darkness. Hey everyone, welcome back to Campsite Mysteries, the channel where we camp out in the strangest corners of wilderness lore. I'm your host Edward, and tonight we're heading to one of the most controversial places on earth, the Grand Canyon in Arizona, a place so vast it could swallow entire cities. And according to one explosive 1909 newspaper report, it already did. We're talking about the hidden caves discovered by a man named G.E. Kincaid. Caves that allegedly contain an underground citadel filled with ancient Egyptian and Oriental artifacts. A story so wild that the Smithsonian has spent over a century denying it ever happened. But why does this tale refuse to die? Why do people still risk everything to find the entrance today? and what really lies behind the sealed off sections of the canyon. Stick around, because at the end of this episode, you might never look at the Grand Canyon the same way again. And remember, stay till the end and look out for that Easter egg. Try and figure out what the next episode will be about. March through April 1909. The Arizona Gazette drops a bombshell on its front page. The headline screams, "Explorations in Grand Canyon, mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light." According to the article, explorer G.E. Kincaid had been traveling alone down the Colorado River looking for minerals. About 42 miles upriver from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, he noticed strange stains on the east wall, roughly 2,000 feet above the river. Curious, he climbed. Hidden behind a ledge, he found a massive opening, clearly man-made. Chisel marks on the walls, steps leading inside. What he stepped into next sounded like something out of an Indiana Jones fever dream. A labyrinth of tunnels stretching nearly a mile underground. Dozens of chambers radiating out like spokes on a wheel. The main hall was so enormous it could have housed 50,000 people. Inside, copper tools, golden urns, ornate tablets covered in hieroglyphs, and rows of mummies wrapped in a style that looked unmistakably Egyptian. Some reports even mentioned a giant Buddha-like statue and artifacts that seemed Tibetan or Oriental. Kincaid supposedly grabbed a few relics and shipped them off. Then, the Smithsonian Institution stepped in. They sent Professor S.A. Jordan with a team of 30 to 40 archaeologists to continue the excavation. And then, silence. The story vanished from the papers. No follow-up, no museum display. Nothing. Here's where things get really suspicious. The Smithsonian has repeatedly stated they have zero records of G.E. Kincaid, Professor Jordan, or any such expedition. They call the entire story a hoax, cooked up to sell newspapers. But conspiracy researchers point out several red flags. Right after the story broke, large sections of the Grand Canyon became heavily restricted or off limits to the public. The area Kincaid described was allegedly sealed off. People who have tried to locate the cave in modern times report strange interference, drones crashing, sudden government patrols, even warnings from rangers. Some claim the Smithsonian, along with the US government, hid the find because it would completely rewrite human history, ancient Egyptians, or some unknown advanced civilization in North America thousands of years before Columbus. That breaks every mainstream timeline. Others say the cave contained evidence of giants, advanced technology, or even extraterrestrial contact. And the timing? The Grand Canyon was about to become a national park in 1919. Some theorists believe the discovery was buried to protect the official narrative and tourism. Hey, if this story is giving you chills already, do me a quick favor right now. Smash that like button if you think the Kincaid Caves are real and the Smithsonian is hiding something big. Drop the word mummies in the comments if you believe there's an ancient Egyptian city buried in the Grand Canyon. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We're uncovering America's darkest forbidden mysteries every single week. And your support decides what forbidden cave or lost city we tackle next. Let's keep the fire burning because we're only halfway through this rabbit hole. According to the original Arizona Gazette article and later retellings, the cave wasn't just a hole in the wall. It was an underground city. Hundreds of rooms and passageways, granaries still filled with seeds, sophisticated copper implements far more advanced than anything local tribes were known to use. Hieroglyphs that some claim linked Egypt and the Nile directly to Arizona. Mummies of men wrapped in linen, some reportedly over 9 feet tall. A central idol resembling an Egyptian or Buddhist figure. Kincaid described the entrance as being deliberately hidden and engineered. The tunnels were squared off with precision, not natural erosion. If even a fraction of this is true, it suggests transoceanic contact between the Old World and the Americas long before history books say it happened.
First, I would impress that the cavern is nearly inaccessible. The entrance is 1,486 feet down the sheer canyon wall. It is located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. The scientists wish to work unmolested. Over 100 feet from the entrance is the cross hall, in which are found the idol, or image, of the people's god, sitting cross-legged, with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of the face is oriental, and the carving shows a skillful hand. The idol most resembles Buddha. The tomb or crypt in which the mummies were found is one of the largest of the chambers. On these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hewn shelf. At the head of each is a small bench, on which is found copper cups and pieces of charcoal. On all the urns, or walls over doorways, and tablets of stone which were found by the image are the mysterious hieroglyphics, which almost conclusively prove that the race which inhabited this mysterious cavern was of Oriental origin, possibly from Egypt, similar to Ramses.
Of course, not everyone buys it. Skeptics say the whole story was yellow journalism, sensational fiction written to boost newspaper sales. They point out that no artifacts ever surfaced publicly. Kincaid and Jordan have no verifiable records, and the Smithsonian's denial has been consistent for over 100 years. Many archaeologists believe most strange Grand Canyon finds are simply misidentified Native American sites or natural formations. But believers fire back. Why the sudden restrictions? Why the total media blackout after such a massive headline? And why do modern explorers still report being turned away from certain coordinates? Some even claim armed guards and no-fly zones protect the real entrance to this day.
There's areas of the Grand Canyon you cannot explore.
You cannot go, you cannot fly over,
Right.
and you can't fly under the rim. Yet when you go to those bad places, suddenly a white plane flies over, under the rim, black helicopters show up.
Even today, the Kincaid Caves refuse to stay buried. Every few years, new drone footage or hiker reports surface claiming to show a suspicious rectangular opening high on the canyon wall. Some say their equipment mysteriously fails when they get close. The Grand Canyon remains one of the most heavily restricted wilderness areas in America when it comes to off-trail exploration. So, the question lingers, was Kincaid's discovery the greatest archaeological find of the 20th century? Quietly locked away? Or just one of the most successful hoaxes in American history? Either way, on dark nights, when the wind howls through the canyon, some locals still swear they see strange lights high up on the cliffs and hear faint echoes that don't sound like any known animal. So tell me in the comments, would you risk everything to find the Kincaid Caves? Do you think the Smithsonian is hiding ancient history or just protecting people from dangerous cliffs? Drop mummies again in the comments if you believe the caves are real. If this episode gave you chills, smash that like button one more time, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. We've got way more forbidden American mysteries coming your way. Until next time, keep your eyes on the cliffs and stay out of the shadows. Something ancient might still be down there, waiting. See you in the woods. You're hiking alone on Mt.shasta as night falls, the trail empty, the air unnaturally still. Then you hear it. Soft footsteps behind you. You turn, and there, you see a figure 7 feet tall, long hair, flowing, draped in glowing white robes. It locks eyes with you, peaceful, yet impossibly ancient. Before you can speak, it steps backward, melting in the rock face like it was never there. Welcome to Mt.shasta, where the lost Lemurians of Telos are said to still walk among us, or perhaps watch from below. UFOs masquerading as clouds, Bigfoot sentinels in the shadows, hikers who vanish without a trace. Tonight on Campsite Mysteries, we step into the darkness of this sacred volcano. Stay close to the fire, because once the mountain notices you, it might not let you leave. First, let's set the scene. Mount Shasta rises like a sentinel in the Cascade Range, over 14,000 feet tall, an active stratovolcano whose last eruption was centuries ago. To the Klamath, Modoc, and Shasta tribes, it's sacred, a home for the creator, a gateway between worlds, a place where spirits dance on the slopes. Disturb its peace, the old stories warn, and misfortune follows. But the modern legend that really grips people started over a century ago with Lemuria, the lost Pacific continent that supposedly sank like Atlantis. Its survivors, according to channeled writings in the 1880s book A Dweller on Two Planets, fled underground. And where better than beneath this magnetic quartz-rich volcano? Fast forward to the 1930s, and the myth gets a Shasta twist with the book Unveiled Mysteries by Guy Ballard. He recounts meeting a mysterious figure named Saint Germain on the mountain, who revealed the hidden city of Telos beneath Shasta. Telos, meaning communication with spirit, is said to house up to 1 million Lemurians. These beings are portrayed as 7 foot tall with long hair, white robes, and an aura of peace. They guard ancient knowledge. Using anti-gravity tech and healing crystals, some say they emerge at night, disguised as hikers, or that their city's entrances are hidden in caves guarded by illusions or force fields. Believers claim Shasta's frequent lenticular clouds, those saucer-shaped formations, are actually cloaked Lemurian spacecraft. Hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into one of the strangest places on Earth and you want more hidden civilization stories, UFO hotspots, and unexplained disappearances, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below. Have you ever felt watched on a mountain trail or seen something you couldn't explain on Shasta? Your stories fuel the next episodes. Let's keep the mysteries coming. Subscribe and let's go deeper together. Now, let's sprinkle in the extra lore that makes Shasta even wilder. This mountain is a notorious energy vortex. Its massive quartz deposits and geomagnetic anomalies draw New Age pilgrims year-round. People meditate here, claim visions of Lemurians, or even find Lemurian seed crystals said to hold ancient encoded knowledge. Then there are the UFOs. Shasta ranks among the top US hotspots for sightings. Pilots in the 1940s reported lights dancing over the peak. Locals still see metallic orbs vanishing into the rock. Some tie this to the idea that Lemurian craft are cloaked as those famous lenticular clouds, the disc-shaped ones that hover motionless against the wind. Bigfoot fits right in too. The surrounding forests are crawling with Sasquatch reports. Fringe theories say these creatures are either guardians of Telos or interdimensional beings, using the same tech as the Lemurians. And the darker side? In 2018, a massive, perfectly cylindrical hole appeared high on the mountain. Officials called it natural, but others whisper alien drill. Lemurian escape hatch, or something worse. Native legends speak of malevolent little people who trick climbers, and over the decades, hikers have vanished here without a trace. Portals? Abductions? The mountain isn't telling. As we circle back, is there truth to Lemurians? Skeptics point out that Lemuria was a 19th century scientific hypothesis to explain animal distributions. Later debunked by plate tectonics, the Telos tales seem rooted in theosophy and occult writings. More fiction than fact. Yet thousands visit Shasta annually for its energy and phenomena like the clouds and magnetic anomalies. keep the myths alive. Maybe it's all metaphor for inner enlightenment, or perhaps something more tangible lurks below. That's our tale tonight on Campsite Mysteries. If you've had a Shasta encounter, share it in the comments. I read every one. Like if the mountain gave you chills, subscribe for more, and always share this with someone you know who needs to question what's under their feet. Well, until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows. Sweet dreams, or are they? You're paddling up remote South Nahanni River. Fog, thick as smoke, rolls in, cliffs closing in like jagged jaws. Your canoe scrapes hidden rock. You glance up and freeze. On the muddy bank lies a skeleton, no head, just bleached white bones. A rusted rifle still clutched in bony fingers. A cold whisper rides the wind. Leave or lose yours too. This is Dead Man Valley, the infamous Headless Valley where gold-hungry prospectors vanished without a trace, returned decapitated, or never returned at all. Cursed by ancient spirits, guarded by forgotten tribes, haunted by something that takes heads as trophies. Tonight on Campsite Mysteries, we brave Nahanni's deadly secrets. Hug the fire tight, folks. Once this valley claims you, it keeps what it takes. Welcome, fellow mystery seekers, to another spine-tingling episode of Campsite Mysteries. I'm your host, Edward, coming to you from the edge of the firelight. Tonight, we're venturing into one of the wildest, most unforgiving places on Earth, the Nahanni Valley in Canada's Northwest Territories. Also, make sure you stick around to the end. There's an Easter egg. See if you can listen and figure out what the next episode will be about. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a true labyrinth. Deep canyons carved by thundering waterfalls, steaming hot springs, sheer limestone cliffs, rising like ancient cathedrals. The South Nahanni River slices through it all, stunningly beautiful, but brutally deadly. Winters drop to -50 degrees. Summers swarm with black flies that drive men insane. Sudden floods can wipe out camps in minutes. No roads reach deep inside. Most arrive by bush plane or grueling canoe. But it's not just the wilderness that terrifies. It's the century-old legends of headless bodies, lost fortunes, and a curse that refuses to die. The Dene people, who've lived in this region for generations, have long called parts of the Nahanni taboo. They spoke of evil spirits dwelling in hidden valleys, monstrous beings, and a fierce group called the Naha, warriors said to guard secret canyons with unmatched ferocity. Their warning to outsiders was clear. Enter this land and the valley will take your head. European prospectors ignored those warnings. In the early 1900s, lured by whispers of placer gold richer than the Klondike, the gold rush fever hit hard after 1898, but the Nahanni's isolation made it a graveyard for the greedy. It all kicked off with the MacLeod brothers in 1906. Scotsman Willie and Frank MacLeod, along with the mysterious Scottish engineer companion, pushed deep into the valley, seeking fortune. They sent word they'd struck it rich on the Flat River tributary. Then, silence. 3 years later, in 1908, their brother Charlie led a desperate search party deep in what became known as Dead Man Valley. He found their camp, cabin burned to ashes. 2 skeletons sprawled on the riverbank, both headless. The heads were never recovered. The engineer vanished without a trace. No body, no sign. A carved message on a nearby tree read something like, "We found a fine prospect." No gold was ever found with the remains. Official reports suggested starvation and animal scavenging, but the headless pattern had begun. The horrors didn't end there. In 1917, Swiss prospector Martin Jorgensen built a cabin near the Flat River, hoping to settle permanently. His cabin burned to the ground. His decapitated body was found nearby, head missing. Again, no struggle evident. In 1927, a prospector known as Yukon Fisher, on the run from charges up north, was discovered headless beside his charred shelter, rifle warped from the heat. By the 1920s and 1940s, more vanished. The Arctic Circle Trio in 1928 to 1931, including Phil Powers, bodies found beheaded near burned cabins. In 1945, an Ontario miner named Ernest Savard turned up headless in his sleeping bag. Maps soon carried grim names: Headless Creek, Headless Range, Funeral Range, Dead Men Valley. The RCMP records note at least 44 deaths or disappearances since 1908. Some say up to that number specifically tied to the valley's curse era. At least 6 documented headless cases, dozens more vanishings. Bodies often showed no signs of fight, just missing heads, camps torched as if to hide evidence. Gold? Rarely found. Who or what was responsible? Theories exploded. Some blamed the mythical Naha headhunters, a lost aggressive tribe in hidden canyons, though anthropologists say no evidence of such a group exists, possibly misremembered Denny conflicts or folklore. Others pointed to a supernatural curse, Denny spirits avenging sacred land intrusions, or an evil presence wailing through the gorges, driving men mad before striking. Prospectors whispered of shadowy figures, cold whispers, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. The Nahanni hides even wilder tales. Geothermal hot springs create strange warm pockets, legends of hidden tropical valleys with lush plants, palm-like growth, even Ice Age survivors like giant prehistoric beasts. Sightings include the Wahila, a massive white wolf-like monster with broad paws, Bigfoot-style creatures called Nakani or Nakanis, hairy giants twice human size, cave dwellers who snatch lone hunters, a white queen ruling a lost tribe in the midst, even UFO-like lights hovering over peaks. The valley's magnetic anomalies reportedly spin compasses wild. Some fringe theories call it a portal or an energy vortex. Not everyone met a grim end. Explorer R.M. Patterson paddled the Nahanni in the 1920s and lived to write The Dangerous River, a classic adventure book. He felt watched, described eerie silences and the sense of unseen eyes, but kept his head and called the place magnificent, not cursed. Canadian writer Pierre Berton dubbed it bona fide Canadian folklore in the 1940s after his own expedition. Books, films, and articles amplified the myth. Headless prospectors, tropical oases, cave monsters, fringe ideas include lost Spanish and Viking gold caches, interdimensional beings, even government cover-ups. Hey, if the Headless Horrors, Lost Gold, and Hidden Worlds of Dead Man Valley have you gripped, and you crave more remote wilderness, nightmares, cursed hunts, or northern enigmas, hit subscribe right now, turn on notifications, drop a comment below. Would you dare canoe the Nahanni for its secrets, or does the Headless Curse keep you safe at home? Share your own creepy wilderness stories. Your votes and tales shape our next episodes. Alright, back to the mystery. But let's ground this. Many deaths likely came from harsh reality. Exposure, grizzly bears, falls off cliffs, drowning in rapids, or foul play. Rival prospectors killing for claims, then burning evidence. Heads missing, scavenging animals, river currents, or decomposition in remote spots. No confirmed mass headhunter tribe. Gold exists in trace amounts, but nothing legendary. The park now sees few visitors. Rescues are rare and risky due to isolation. Also, in recent times, big sections of the park have been closed. The park has said they have closed those sections off to protect those segments, but speculators believe the reason they are closing many sections off that are very close to Headless Valley is that they want to protect people from whatever is inside of that park. Yet the pool endures. Bush pilots report uneasy feelings. Recent hikers claim whispers or pale figures vanishing into cliffs. In 2005, 2 hunters vanished from a cabin, their bodies later found under puzzling circumstances. Modern adventurers still speak of strange unease. Evil spirits taking heads, or just plain old human greed? What do you think? As we close this deep dive into Nahanni's mysteries, remember, some places don't want to be found. The valley keeps its secrets and sometimes its visitors. If you've got tales from Yukon's Mad Trapper, Alaska's Ishkvak, or other frozen horrors, comment. I read every one. Like if these headless legends chilled you to the bone. Subscribe for more campfire chills and share with your adventure buddies. Until next time, watch your neck out there. Stay close to the fire. It's warmer over here.